Porsche just reported a 99% collapse in profits. Not 10%, not 50%, 99%. Operating profit fell from 4 billion euros to 40 million euros in less than a year, turning one of the most profitable luxury brands on earth into a company now fighting for its survival. This is not a story about a bad quarter. This is the story of how a brand that survived 2 world wars, multiple recessions, and every financial crisis imaginable managed to destroy itself. And the strangest part? They didn't lose because they made terrible cars. They didn't lose because of a scandal, a fraud, or a catastrophic accident. Porsche lost because they made a bet, a massive billion-dollar bet on the future of the car industry, and that bet destroyed them. Here's exactly how it happened. To understand where Porsche is today, you need to understand where they were at their absolute peak, because the height of the fall is what makes this story so extraordinary. The year is 2022. Porsche sells 309,000 vehicles and generates 6.8 billion euros in revenue with margins most companies can only dream about. The brand is so strong, so profitable that Volkswagen decides to take it public. The IPO raises 9 billion euros in a single day. The company is valued at nearly 75 billion euros, making it one of the most valuable car manufacturers on the planet. Analysts are calling it the perfect luxury business. A company that sells fewer cars than Toyota, but makes more profit per vehicle than almost anyone. Every metric is pointing up. Every forecast is glowing. And behind all of it, Porsche's management has a plan. A plan they believe will make the company even stronger for the next 50 years. That plan is called electrification. In 2020, Porsche launches the Taycan, a fully electric sedan positioned to dominate the luxury EV market, just as the 911 had dominated the sports car market. The strategy is aggressive. By 2030, 80% of all Porsche sales would be electric vehicles. Billions are committed to EV infrastructure, new platforms, new factories, new battery supply chains. CEO Oliver Bloom announces that by the end of the decade, almost every Porsche model, the Cayenne, the Macan, the Panamera, the 718, would go electric or hybrid. Only the 911 would keep its combustion engine as the last symbol of Porsche's mechanical soul. Everything else would be software, batteries, and silicon. Initially, the Taycan seems to validate the vision. It wins Car of the Year awards. It sells 41,000 units in 2023. Not Tesla numbers, but for an electric sedan starting at $90,000, it's promising. Porsche calls it the thinker's Tesla. Better build quality, superior driving dynamics, genuine luxury materials, and that legendary crest on the hood. Meanwhile, China is the engine of all of it. By 2021, China has become Porsche's largest market, accounting for over 30% of global sales. Nearly 96,000 vehicles delivered to young, wealthy Chinese buyers who love German prestige and Porsche's blend of performance and status. The company opens dealerships in every major Chinese city, builds a regional headquarters in Shanghai, hires thousands of local employees. On paper, the strategy is airtight. Record profits, successful IPO, growing EV sales, total domination in China, a clear roadmap into an electric future. Then everything fell apart. By 2024, the first cracks appear, and they are deep. Taycan sales collapse, not slow down, collapse. Online forums fill with customer complaints. Consumer Reports names the Taycan one of the most unreliable vehicles of 2023. Owners describe complete system failures on highways, red warning lights instructing them to pull over immediately. Battery fires trigger 5 major recalls. Range drops 30 to 40% below official EPA estimates. Vehicles sit in service centers for months because technicians have never seen these control module failures before. But the real problem is more fundamental than reliability. Look at the numbers. A base Taycan costs nearly $90,000. Range, 310 kilometers. A Tesla Model S costs less and goes twice as far. At the top end, it gets worse. The Taycan Turbo S costs $190,000 and still delivers only 310 kilometers. The Model S Plaid costs less than half, offers 650 kilometers, and beats it in a straight line. The comparison makes no rational sense. And then China collapses. In 2024, Porsche's sales in China fall 28%, from 79,000 to 57,000 vehicles in a single year. Their biggest market, gone. And the reason is not the global economy. The reason is something Porsche never saw coming. Chinese buyers stopped caring about German prestige. Local brands like BYD, NIO, and Xiaomi launched electric vehicles that were not just cheaper, they were technologically superior. Xiaomi's SU7, a first car from a smartphone company, sold over 100,000 units in 2024. It broke the Taycan's lap record at the Shanghai circuit. It had seamless smartphone integration, autonomous driving features that actually worked, and software updates that didn't brick the car. Young Chinese buyers, average age 36, have no attachment to Porsche's century of racing heritage. They want the best technology available. And for the first time in automotive history, the best technology was not coming from Germany. In a panic, Porsche does something it had never done before. It starts slashing prices. Dealers cut up to 35% off the Taycan in China, over 10% off the 911 itself just to move inventory. This is catastrophic, because the moment a Porsche costs the same as a Chinese electric car with better specs, there is no longer any rational reason to choose the Porsche. By May 2024, Chinese dealers stop accepting new vehicles from the factory entirely. They tell Porsche's headquarters, "We have too many cars, we can't sell them, and we need financial subsidies just to survive." The dream is officially over. But while China was imploding, Porsche's entire EV infrastructure was collapsing from a different direction. The company had invested 2.7 billion euros in EV production facilities and another 1.7 billion in platform development, including a critical partnership with Northvolt, a Swedish battery company that was supposed to power the next generation of Porsche EVs. In November 2024, Northvolt files for bankruptcy. Overnight, Porsche's battery supply chain is gone. The electric 718 Boxster, planned for 2025, is pushed back to at least 2027. A 2-year hole appears in the model lineup with no way to fill it. 8 months later, in August 2025, Porsche shuts down its entire in-house battery production operation. 200 workers are laid off. 400 million euros in investments are written off. The electric Macan, which arrived a year late due to software problems, manages just 18,000 units in its first year. The reason? It costs 30,000 euros more than the old petrol version for technology buyers consider outdated. Then comes the leadership implosion. In February 2025, Porsche's CFO and sales chief are both fired after publicly contradicting the CEO. Internal memos leak showing the board fighting over whether to accelerate the EV strategy or abandon it. The company is tearing itself apart. In April 2025, Porsche lowers its full-year operating margin forecast, not to 15%, not to 10%, to 6.5 to 8.5%. For a company that once operated at 18% margins, the envy of the entire automotive industry, this is already a disaster. 6 months later, in October 2025, the number falls again, 0 to 2%, nearly break even. A company that printed money for 15 years is now barely covering its costs. In that same month, Porsche abandons the 80% EV target entirely. No new timeline, no new commitment, just a vague statement that the company would continue offering combustion, hybrid, and electric cars for many years to come. It is a complete capitulation. Then CEO Oliver Blume writes a letter to all 36,700 German employees. The letter leaks. And the words are brutal. The business model no longer works in a post-Trump new China world. 3,900 jobs will be cut by 2029. Annual production permanently reduced to 250,000 vehicles, 20% below current levels. Taycan production cut from 2 shifts to 1. This is not a restructuring. This is a permanent downsizing. While Porsche contracts, its rivals are growing. BMW, which chose a balanced approach instead of going all in on electric, remains the world's best-selling premium brand and grows EV sales to 427,000 units. Tesla continues to dominate the luxury electric segment with 10 times more sales than the Taycan. Their charging network, their software update system, their AI integration, none of which Porsche can match. And BYD explodes. 4 million electric vehicles sold in China in 2024. A number so large it makes Porsche's entire annual production look like a rounding error. In October 2025, Oliver Bloom is replaced as CEO. Dr. Michael Steiner takes over in January 2026. A new man. An unclear plan. This is where Porsche stands today, caught between two worlds. Too expensive for EV buyers who want range and software. Too compromised for combustion purists who watch as their beloved 911 becomes the last remnant of what the brand once was. The lesson is not that electric vehicles killed Porsche. The lesson is more uncomfortable than that. Porsche forgot the one thing that made them untouchable. They were never just a car company. They were a feeling. And feelings don't survive when the technology behind them falls a decade behind. If Porsche survives, and they might, it will be by remembering what they actually sell. Not horsepower, not range, not software, emotion. The question is whether there's still time to build it back.